Map Business Online video, we had a client request to import data. She had data by zip code, like we've got over here in this little spreadsheet, with sales information. And she wanted to bring that into Map Business Online and be able to export the zip code data with the sales data and the town information, cities and towns. So I thought it was an interesting application of Map Business Online, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about how we solve that problem. And there's two ways of solving it. One is with the boundary layer of zip codes, which I just turned on. That's our boundary layer. And the other is with our total zip code layer, which is from up here in our data set button. And we click into this from server option and we go down into public data and we grab the total public data zip code, most recent one, which is May 2020, and we click plot, and we put all the zip codes in the whole US Post Office Service on the map, which would be these blue dots. They go all across the country. So if I went all the way out to the nationwide level, you'd see dots all over the place. And those, if we look at that data layer, just to give it a quick look at, you'll see there's a column there for boundary and point. Boundary zip codes, that's what we've got in our little boundary layer down here that we looked at initially. Points, there's another couple thousand of points they represent big buildings, assisted living center, hospitals, military installations. You can see bringing it all up to about 41,016 zip codes total. So for a comprehensive list of zip codes in any sales analysis, it's best to go with that entire zip code layer. But we can, I'm going to zoom back, clicking the zoom back button. We can just work with the data that she brought in, just those zip codes against the boundary layer. And when we do that, we could color code the boundary layer, clicking the button up here. We can also color code by hovering over the zip code layer here and clicking in there for color coding both same functions. And I go through and I grab the sample data and I grab the column of data and I actually color coded based on unique values of sales. There wasn't that many of them. There's only like 12 of them. And I've got 100 possible values, actually 17 of them. And then you can see I excluded the zero values. And when I do that, I get a nice visualization of where sales is happening by zip code. And also that shows up in my legend. And in this case, the legend isn't too busy. I can go in and clean up that bottom option if I want to. Let's go to the zip code layer. I could just get rid of that. Not in any range. No reason to have superfluous data there. So there you go. There is a map with those zip codes on there. In order to export that data layer, I would go to the zip code layer in the data window. And I believe I've got that filtered already. Let's see, zip code layer. Yeah, and so I'm going to unfilter my filter so that I can show you exactly how we do this. Sorry about that. So now here's my overall boundary layer. I selected a zip code in Alaska. I'm just going to go back to Massachusetts. So here's my boundary layer of zip codes, and I can go down into my Choose Columns button, and this is where you have a little database management tool, and I can grab my zip code sample data set that I've imported from my client using the data button here to import into Map Business Online, and I can then grab that column of data, bring that over to the right, set that data column, and then I can filter, clicking the filter button, by that data. So I could go in, again, that sample data button, data set, and then pulling in that column and look for anything greater than 0. So I'm using my data, imported data, I'm getting the right column, I'm setting a modifier for filtering greater than, and putting a numeric value of 0. So you can see my column is there in the data. I click filter, and now I've only got those zip codes that have sales values of greater than 0, which are right there on the map. So I have a map view, I have a data view, I can export that out. It includes place name. Here's the town, Wenham, Jordan. This is where I grew up in Rockport. Gloucester's right next door in case you want to get some fish. So that's a quick way to get that data imported. Again, we imported her data using the data set button, plotting that data. There's plenty of videos on how to do that in Map Business Online. And then we just grab those columns into our data using our little database management tool, and then we filtered for the sales values. Terrific. Then, in order to go with a more comprehensive list of zip codes, we want to be able to filter by that whole imported public data set of zip codes with the points and the boundaries. And so what I do is I took my filtered list from the boundary zip code analysis and I created a territory out of it. So we've got new, and that lets me actually create a territory. You'll see there's the dialog box, and I've already got that territory created. So here it is, the Furniture Guys Sales. That's the name of the territory. And if I turn it on here, you'll see my territory is colored in blue, Furniture Guys Sales. And now I can take that public data, zip codes, and I can filter it with the search by territory. So in my drop-down, I select my target data set, zip codes, points, and boundaries, and I filter by that yellow puzzle piece. And I use the option on the bottom, search data inside all territories. Click search. It adds the territory and territory name column to the data. You can see the place name is there in the data. And if I click at the top of that column, it just lets it reset and sort. And there's all my Furniture Guys zip codes. And you can see the greater than 0 territory count there. So it's done a basic automatic filtering. And I can export that data out. I can filter it in the same way I did before to get just that data if I want to. So I could say, we're going to look at territory count greater than 0. And now I've got just that data again. Now I've got points and boundary zip codes. You can see both of them are in there. We know we've got all the information we want. We export it out as a CSV file out of the application, so you can use it wherever you want. Go to mapbusinessonline.com and take our free trial. I can't believe